No one noticed. The little girl stopped crying. Not because someone comforted her, but because she finally understood. No one was coming. Across the galaxy, billions of viewers watched the largest auction ever broadcast. Entire planets had paused their daily lives. Governments delayed meetings. Military fleets opened public channels. Even pirate stations illegally rebroadcast the event. Because today's prize was something the galaxy believed no longer existed. A human child. Inside the center of the grand celestial exchange, a transparent energy cage slowly rose above thousands of wealthy bidders. The girl couldn't have been older than 8. Messy black hair, bright blue eyes, a small stuffed rabbit clutched tightly against her chest. She looked around the enormous arena, searching every face, still hoping someone familiar would appear. Nobody did. The announcer's amplified voice echoed through the stadium. Citizens of the galaxy, today marks a historical moment. For over 6,000 years, humanity has existed only in museums and history records. He smiled confidently. But today, the final known human has been verified. The crowd erupted. Thousands of alien species began placing bids before the auction had even started. Scientists, collectors, royal families, private museums, military research divisions, everyone wanted ownership, not because she was dangerous, because she was priceless. The announcer continued. DNA authentication complete. Age estimate, 8 Earth years. No surviving relatives. No registered guardians. Legal ownership. He paused dramatically. Available. The giant countdown clock above the arena lit up. 0 hours 10 minutes and 0 seconds 10 minutes. Whoever offered the highest bid would own the last human forever. The little girl looked down at the stuffed rabbit. Its fabric was worn and torn with age. Someone had stitched the words, "If we're separated, keep smiling." Tiny fingers held it tighter. She whispered so quietly, only the cage microphones heard her. "I tried, I really did." Far away, beyond every known trade route, a lonely deep space relay station intercepted an unusual transmission. The operator frowned. It wasn't encrypted. It wasn't military. It contained only one sentence. "Emergency Human Guardian Protocol activated." The operator laughed. "Human? They've been extinct for thousands of years." He deleted the notification. Exactly 3 seconds later, every system inside the station shut down. The room became silent. Then every monitor displayed one line. Access overridden. The operator's smile disappeared. "What?" Before he could finish speaking, a second message appeared. "Guardian Fleet responding." His heartbeat accelerated. He searched every galactic database. No civilization, no military, no archive contained any record of a Guardian Fleet. Back inside the auction hall, the bidding had already reached impossible numbers. Entire moons, artificial stars, planetary mining rights, ancient artifacts, everything was being offered. For one frightened little girl. The announcer raised his hand. Current highest bid, 43 living worlds. The audience roared. The little girl didn't understand the numbers. She only asked one question. "Can I go home now?" No one answered. The countdown continued. 5:42 then, without warning, every light inside the auction hall went black. The cheering stopped instantly. Emergency systems failed. Security drones froze in midair. Weapons powered down. Even the auction AI went completely silent. For 5 long seconds, only darkness remained. Then, a single blue light appeared above the girl's cage. Not a spotlight, a hologram, one ancient symbol, unknown to everyone in the arena. Except the little girl. The moment she saw it, her eyes filled with tears. She smiled, for the first time, and quietly whispered, "They found me." At that exact second, every screen across the galaxy displayed the same message. Auction suspended. Human guardians have arrived. The words remained frozen across every screen. Human guardians have arrived. For several long seconds, nobody moved. Nobody even breathed. Inside the grand celestial exchange, the announcer stared at the giant holographic display. This has to be a malfunction." He looked toward the control room. "Restart the system." Nothing happened. Every console remained locked. Every security drone stayed frozen. Every emergency override returned the same answer. Access denied, one technician whispered. Someone has complete control of the auction network. The announcer laughed nervously. Impossible. No civilization has authority over the central commerce grid. The technician slowly looked up. They're not requesting authority. They already have it. A cold silence swept through the arena. Inside the energy cage, the little girl stood up for the first time. She wiped the tears from her face. Then looked toward the enormous ceiling above the auction hall. As if she knew exactly who had arrived. Meanwhile, thousands of kilometers above the planet, the orbital defense fleet suddenly entered maximum alert. Long-range scanners had detected something impossible. One officer leaned toward his console. Unknown hyperspace signatures. Another officer interrupted. They're increasing. The numbers climbed faster than the computers could process them. 100, 1,000, 10,000. Then, the system simply stopped counting. The commander's face turned pale. Visual. The stars themselves seemed to bend. Blue light spread across the darkness like an ocean. Space was opening, not exploding, opening, as though someone had quietly unlocked a hidden door between galaxies. From that brilliant wall of light, a single black ship emerged. No weapons visible, no fighter escorts, no battle formation, just one enormous vessel, elegant, ancient, silent. Its surface reflected the surrounding stars like polished obsidian. Across its hull glowed the same silver emblem the little girl had recognized. A blue planet, protected by two open hands. The commander searched every military archive. Nothing. No records. No identification. Then the fleet AI spoke. Historical database located. The commander's eyes widened. Display it. An ancient document appeared. So old, it existed only as fragments. Across the top, one faded line could still be read. Earth Guardian Command. The commander's heartbeat quickened. That's impossible. Earth disappeared thousands of years ago. The AI answered calmly. Correction. Earth disappeared. Guardian Command did not. Far below, the auction resumed in complete silence. No one dared place another bid. The little girl looked toward the announcer. Can I leave now? He couldn't answer. Before anyone could move, every screen inside the arena flickered. A calm human voice echoed through the hall. Clear, confident, ancient. This is Guardian Fleet 7. We are assuming custody. The announcer finally found his courage. You have no legal claim. The voice answered immediately. Incorrect. A holographic document appeared above the arena. Its seal was unlike anything the galaxy had seen. Millions of lines of ancient legal code filled the air. The auction AI, silent until now, suddenly came back online. Its mechanical voice echoed across the stadium. Authenticating. Several tense seconds passed. Then, document verified. The crowd exchanged confused looks. The AI continued. Earth Guardian Charter recognized. Age of document, 6,318 years. The announcer's smile vanished. The AI spoke once more. Guardian rights remain legally active. Auction status, illegal. The entire stadium erupted into panic. Bidders began shouting. Military representatives demanded explanations. Lawyers argued with the central AI. None of it mattered. The verdict had already been given. The little girl quietly hugged her stuffed rabbit. I told you, they'd come. High above the planet, the lone black ship finally moved. Not quickly, not aggressively. It simply descended through the atmosphere. Every defense cannon locked onto it. Every orbital weapon charged. Yet the unknown vessel ignored them all. It continued its slow approach. As though nothing in the galaxy possessed the power to stop it. Inside the command bridge, an elderly human man stood before a massive observation window. Silver hair, weathered face, simple black uniform, no medals, no decorations, only one small badge, the same blue planet, protected by two open hands. A young officer stepped beside him. Commander, we've located the child. The old man closed his eyes for a brief moment. When he opened them again, they carried centuries of quiet determination. Status, healthy, scared, alone. The commander looked toward the distant planet. Then softly whispered words that froze everyone on the bridge. Not anymore. The bridge fell silent. Moments later, the auction hall ceiling began to open automatically. Not because anyone commanded it. Because every control system had surrendered. Sunlight poured into the arena. The black human vessel slowly descended above the stadium. Without firing a single shot. Without making a single threat. It simply hovered there. Its shadow covered the entire auction complex. The little girl smiled so brightly that even frightened spectators couldn't look away. The ship's lower hull slowly opened. A single beam of soft blue light descended into the center of the arena. No soldiers emerged. No weapons. Only one elderly human commander. Walking alone toward the child's cage. Every alien guard instinctively stepped aside. Not because he forced them to. Because something about him demanded respect. He stopped in front of the energy cage. Looked at the little girl. Then smiled. "I'm sorry. It took us so long to find you." The little girl burst into tears. She pressed both hands against the transparent barrier. "I knew you'd come." The commander gently placed his hand against the other side of the glass. Then, for the first time, his calm expression disappeared. He slowly turned toward the thousands of silent bidders. His voice remained quiet, but every word echoed through the arena. "You believed she was the last human." He looked back at the frightened child. "No." He slowly faced the crowd again. "She is the daughter of humanity." And at that exact moment, hundreds of thousands of ancient human warships emerged from hyperspace above the planet. The sky disappeared. Only black ships remained. Hundreds of thousands of ancient human warships emerged from hyperspace above the planet. Within seconds, day became night. The sky disappeared behind an endless wall of black ships. No weapons were aimed. No attack formations appeared. The fleet simply waited, silent, patient, watching. Across the planet, entire cities stopped moving. Children pointed toward the sky. News networks abandoned every scheduled broadcast. Every screen showed the same impossible image. Humanity had returned. Inside the auction hall, nobody dared speak. The elderly human commander gently looked back at the little girl. "What is your name?" The child wiped the tears from her face. "Lily. My name is Lily." The commander's eyes softened. "Lily, that's a beautiful Earth name." She looked at him with trembling lips. Are you really human?" The old man smiled. "Every person on that fleet is your family." Lily could no longer hold back her emotions. She ran toward the transparent barrier, trying to hug him through the energy cage. The commander slowly raised one hand. He didn't touch the controls. He didn't use a weapon. He simply spoke one sentence. "Guardian override." The cage instantly dissolved into millions of blue particles. Across the arena, scientists jumped to their feet. One researcher shouted, "Impossible. That prison uses quantum encryption. No biological species can disable it." The commander calmly replied, "I didn't disable it. I own it." Silence. The sentence struck harder than any threat. He bent down, opened his arms, and Lily ran into them. For the first time in years, she felt safe. The stuffed rabbit slipped from her hand. The commander picked it up carefully. His smile slowly faded. He recognized it. Very slowly, he turned the rabbit over. The faded stitching was still there. "If we're separated, keep smiling." The commander's breathing became heavy. One of the younger officers whispered, "Commander, you know the toy?" The old man nodded. "My wife made these before the first Exodus." The bridge officers looked at each other in disbelief. That design disappeared 6,000 years ago. The commander looked at Lily again. "Who gave this to you?" She answered quietly, "My grandma. My mommy said it belonged to our family. For a very long time." The commander gently closed his eyes. For one brief moment, the strongest man in the fleet looked as though he might cry. He whispered, "Emily, so you really survived." Meanwhile, the Galactic Council declared the highest emergency level in recorded history. Military fleets from dozens of civilizations jumped toward the auction world. Not to attack, to observe. No one understood what humanity intended to do. The council chamber buzzed with fear. One admiral slammed his hand on the table. "We cannot allow an unknown fleet of this size inside council space." A historian immediately interrupted. They're already inside. They crossed every defense line without triggering a single alarm. Another officer added, and they've made no hostile move. The Chancellor frowned. What do they want? Before anyone could answer, the central AI activated. Incoming transmission. Priority. It cannot be overridden. The main hologram lit up. The elderly human commander appeared before the entire Galactic Council. He stood alone. No guards. No soldiers. No threats. His calm voice echoed across the chamber. My name is Commander Elias Ward, Supreme Guardian of the Earth Guardian Fleet. I am not here to declare war. The room relaxed, slightly. Then he continued, I am here to recover a stolen child. Several senators immediately protested. She was legally auctioned. Elias looked directly toward them. No, she was kidnapped. The council erupted into shouting. Law experts began quoting interstellar commerce laws. Elias listened without interruption. When the room finally became quiet, he raised one old document. This charter predates your council by over 6,000 years. It recognizes every human child as the direct responsibility of the Guardian Fleet. The council AI scanned the document. 5 seconds later, its voice echoed across the chamber. Authentic. Guardian Charter recognized. Legal priority, higher than galactic commerce law. The silence was deafening. Entire legal systems collapsed in a single sentence. The Chancellor slowly stood. His voice was calm. If your claim is true, then where has humanity been for 6,000 years? Commander Elias looked toward the stars beyond the council windows. His answer was simple. We never left. We were protecting something far beyond your galaxy. Confused whispers filled the chamber. Protecting what? No one asked, because everyone feared the answer. Just then, every human officer aboard the flagship suddenly turned toward the main tactical display. One alert after another flashed red. The fleet AI spoke. Commander, long-range perimeter breached. Elias frowned. By whom? The AI zoomed out far beyond the Milky Way. Beyond every known chart. Beyond the route humanity had traveled. A single object appeared. At first, it looked like another ship. Then the scanners corrected themselves. Length, 23,000 kilometers. No engines. No life signs. No known material composition. And it was moving straight toward the galaxy. The AI's final sentence froze every human aboard the flagship. Commander, the Watchers have found us. Elias slowly closed his eyes. Then quietly whispered, I prayed. They never would. I prayed. They never would. Commander Elias's words echoed across the flagship bridge. No one asked who the Watchers were, because every human officer already knew. And the fear in their faces told the rest of the galaxy. Whatever was coming, even humanity respected it. The massive unidentified object continued moving toward the Milky Way. It accelerated without engines, without warp drives, without leaving any detectable energy signature. It simply moved. The Galactic Council's finest scientists stared at the data in disbelief. This violates every known law of physics. Another scientist whispered, maybe. It wrote those laws. Silence filled the chamber. Commander Elias looked toward Lily, who was quietly holding her stuffed rabbit. She noticed his expression. They're bad people, aren't they? Elias knelt beside her. No, they're not people. Lily frowned. Then what are they? The commander remained silent for several seconds. Finally, he answered, they're the reason humanity disappeared. Across the bridge, no one moved. 6,000 years earlier, humanity hadn't abandoned Earth. Humanity had left to lure something away. Something that hunted civilizations. The flagship AI interrupted. Enemy object entering visual range. The forward screens came alive. The galaxy finally saw it. It wasn't a ship. It was a city, a black metallic world drifting through space. Its surface constantly changed shape, as though it were alive. There were no windows, no visible weapons, only one enormous glowing white eye stretching across its center. The eye opened. Every electronic device across the galaxy shut down for 3 full seconds. When power returned, a single message appeared on every screen. Found you. Nothing else. No threats. No demands. Just 2 words. Found you. Panic spread across hundreds of worlds. Civilian fleets fled. Military armadas activated every weapon they possessed. The Chancellor looked toward Elias. "You know this enemy." Elias nodded. "They don't conquer planets. They erase histories." Confused faces filled the council. He continued, "If a civilization becomes too powerful, they make sure it never existed." One historian suddenly stood. His entire body trembled. "That's impossible." Elias looked directly at him. "Tell me, how many civilizations disappeared from your oldest records?" Without explanation, the historian opened the archive. Thousands. Entire species. Whole empires. Names with no history. Worlds with no survivors. He slowly lowered his hands. Oh, they weren't myths. They were victims. The silence became unbearable. Lily quietly tugged on Elias's sleeve. "Can they erase us too?" The commander smiled gently. "They already tried." He looked toward the approaching black world. "They failed." For the first time, the ancient human fleet began moving. Not toward the enemy. Around the galaxy, millions of guardian ships spread across inhabited systems, protecting planets that didn't even belong to humanity. Alien admirals watched in disbelief. "They're defending us," a human captain answered over an open channel. "That's what guardians do." Then, something incredible happened. Every guardian ship transmitted the same ancient code. Not to each other, to every civilization. The translation appeared instantly. "No one stands alone." The message spread faster than fear itself. Alien warships that had fought each other for centuries quietly moved into formation beside the human fleet. Old enemies became allies, not because treaties forced them, because one little human girl had reminded them. Every child deserved someone to come home for. Commander Elias looked down at Lily. "Would you like to help me?" She nodded. He smiled. "Then press this." He placed her small hand over a glowing blue command crystal. The moment she touched it, every guardian ship across the galaxy illuminated with brilliant blue light. The ancient home protocol awakened. The fleet AI announced, "Guardian Network online." Civilian shield activated. A transparent wall of blue energy expanded across countless star systems. For the first time, the Watchers stopped moving. The enormous white eye narrowed, as if it had recognized something. Then a new message appeared. Not on the fleet, not in the council, only on the commander's display. "The child still lives." Elias quietly smiled. "Yes, she does." The final transmission from the Watchers arrived. "Then humanity has not failed." Without another word, the colossal black world slowly turned away. It disappeared into the darkness between galaxies. Just as silently as it had come. The council stared in disbelief. No battle, no war, they just left. Elias looked toward the stars. "They weren't testing our weapons. They were testing our hearts." Years later, the day of the auction would become a galactic holiday. Not because humanity returned, but because every civilization finally understood. The measure of a great civilization isn't how many worlds it owns. It's whether it would cross an entire galaxy to bring one frightened child home. Above the restored Earth memorial, a new inscription was carved beneath the Guardian emblem. "No human child will ever stand alone." And from that day forward, those words belonged not only to humanity, but to the entire galaxy. The end. Thanks for watching. If you love epic sci-fi stories, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to HFY Sci-Fi for more unforgettable adventures across the galaxy. See you in the next story.